go. Okay. Hopefully you guys now see the legs cardio and core day screen. All right. And see, I'm used to my classroom. I have like a little clicker that I walk around with, and I don't have that. So I'll walk up and push a button. But anyway, this is going to be the second half of how to take, just some exercises for your whole body. Did upper body last week. We're going to do core and legs today, and then we're going to mix in a little bit of cardio. So one thing that we touched on last week that I wanted to hit again, I think Dan is the one who asked this question, is drink a lot of water. And this is if you're working out, if you're not working out, just always drink a lot of water. Um, it shows on there, and this was for like younger people, so 10 to 18 years old. For boys, 5 to 8 cups a day. For girls, 4 to 7 cups a day. It's basically the same. Just if you just have some water around and just kind of whenever you're thinking about it, just take a drink. Just be like, well, there we go. And even if you're drinking enough water, even if you're mixing in some other stuff like coffee or a pop every once in a while or something like that, you'll still feel better if you're putting water in there too and just keeping, you know, keep the balance. And then there you go. It says it'll keep your skin looking good. It'll make you in a good mood and make you look younger, and you'll maintain a healthier weight. So, boom, there it is. Okay. Um, Before we kick off today, though, I do want to say something about exercise, eating, and just being healthy in general. And that's that nobody's going to be perfect here, right? Like having snacks or treats, like going to McDonald's every once in a while, those are fine. Like I think a lot of people, when they think about working out, they imagine this life where all they do is eat salad, drink water, and exercise, and they're like, that sounds so terrible. And yes, that would be so terrible. There is literally nothing wrong with having some candy every once in a while, drinking a Dr. Pepper every once in a while, go out to eat. Those are the things, those make life fun. The mission is to not make that fun stuff normal. That's where you see people that develop a lot of problems. Let's take Coke, for example, pop, soda, whatever part of the country you live in, call it something different. But let's just talk about Dr. Pepper, right? Say you love Dr. Pepper. Tons of people love Dr. Pepper. And you have one, and then you realize one day, you're like, wait, instead of having one Dr. Pepper, I could drink only Dr. Pepper. And then in 10 years, you have diabetes. And you're like, what happened to me? Well, what happened to you is you're drinking a 12 pack a day. Drinking a 12 pack of basically anything a day is terrible for you. And they just went overboard. It's fine to have a
Unless it's
Dr.
bottled
Pepper.
water.
Unless it's bottled water. Then you're just killing the planet with your plastic bottles.
That's right. That's right.
um, but yeah. So just moderation, 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 moderation. And if you stick to a workout, if you stick to a pretty healthy lifestyle, you'll actually feel even better about eating bad things or drinking soda because you're like, it feels like a reward. You're like, no, I've worked hard for this. I'm gonna have this Reese's, and I'm gonna go to Burger King. McDonald's is better. Anyway, okay,
Brad, we've got a question in the chat. Is
sure.
Propel water healthy or not?
I mean, it's water. Okay, so here's the thing with sports drinks, um, and things like vitamin waters, Propel, stuff like that.
Gatorade.
Gatorade, right. So let's say you go to the store and you pick up a Gatorade, right? And I'm not talking about like a Gatorade Zero or the weird ones. I'm talking about orange or lime green or purple Gatorade. If you are playing basketball that day, right? Or doing some kind of like very, very strenuous physical activity, your body is going to need those electrolytes and the things in that Gatorade to just kind of keep you, it'll help you throughout the sport. If you're not doing that, your body needs none of the stuff in that Gatorade or that Propel or that other thing. So you're still getting the water from it, which is good. But a lot of sports drinks, especially the not diet sports drinks, have sugar, have extra stuff in it that you don't need unless you are literally doing a strenuous athletic activity at that time. That's what Gatorade it was made for. It was made, I think, at the University of Florida, which makes sense. Florida Gators. That's why it's called Gatorade. Oh my God, I just figured that out. Um, but it was made. Okay, that's probably right. I'm
That's
not 100.
probably right.
You know, okay. Anyway, I do know it was made at the University of Florida, and it was for their basketball team. And the science people were like, look, we're burning all this stuff in our body as we're practicing basketball all the time. Drink this. And then they measured and they got a little bit better performance. And that's how Gatorade was born. But it is specifically for athletes, it is specifically for people who are working out. It is hilarious to me. And I would never like make fun of somebody, but you're like, you just see somebody and they're just like, have a Gatorade and they're drinking it. And I'm like, just get a Dr. Pepper. It's going to taste better. You're doing the same thing to your body. You're just throwing a bunch of stuff in it body doesn't need, and you'll have to process it. Drink water, or Gatorade's not for a diet. Gatorade is for an athlete. And then the Propel stuff like that, same thing. Like it's more of a workout supplement than a healthy alternative to water. Does that answer the question?
That sounds
Okay.
perfect.
I can't see the chat. So, all right. For today, since we started with upper body, we'll move down to the next section. We'll just talk about the core. On the screen here, I just put some basic core exercises, and I'll kind of go through those here in a minute. But core is really important, and it's something that gets skipped a lot. Both exercise groups we're talking about today are things that are often skipped. I personally hate doing core workouts. Like, I don't know why, just my least favorite one, because some of them are pretty uncomfortable. But your core is literally the thing that ties your whole body together, right? Like if you're having a lot of lower back pain or a lot of neck pain, a lot of times one of your imbalances can be in your core, and you need your middle of your body to be strong with whatever you're doing. And that includes things like sports, like, you see somebody hitting a baseball bat and they got big old arms, and you're like, man, that dude could probably crank with those biceps. It's helping. But if you think about like all that twisting and stuff, that's your core. So um, don't skip core. And I'm going to talk about how you can incorporate core into a workout routine. But first, let's just kind of look at some of these. So, like, if you look on this, like a flutter kick is a very easy alternative to a sit up. And one thing I want to give you alternatives to is a sit up, because I hate sit ups so much. They're so hard to do, and they might just be terrible for you. Like, the science on them is out there. You'll see it both ways, but you're putting a lot of stress on your neck and your back by just cranking yourself like this over and over again. Um, so I like alternatives to it. Flutter kick is something they had us do in the military all day, every day. You see, she's laying on her back with her hands on the ground, and she's got her legs straight, and she's just kicking her legs up in the air like this. Going to activate your core the whole time. Planking, I mean, everybody knows what a plank is. The cat cow, literally, she's on her hands and her knees, and then she's bending her back, and then just unbending her back. That's almost more of a stretch, but it is engaging all those core muscles. And then the tabletop bridge is like a reverse plank. It's like a plank for your back, essentially. Another one I want to add is a side plank, where instead of planking straight like this, you just roll it to the side and you're on your arm like this, and that's going to work your side of your core. So do some core. Um, Here's another side specifically targeting the low back, because this is an area that a lot of people, especially as they get older, have a ton of pain in. And one of the huge benefits about working out or being active as a young person is you will just avoid so many of the problems um, that people who figure out they need to kind of start getting in shape when they're 40 or 35 run into. It is so much easier as a teenager to get in shape. And then once you're in shape, it's a lot easier to just maintain. So anyway, here's some more. Um, you can just look at these. Like there's the reverse plank again. The Superman exercise is a fun one. It's sort of like a very short sit up, but reverse. And so they're just activating their back muscles. They're doing something that is it's using their back muscles, and you can see that there. Somebody asked about deadlifting the other day, And deadlifting is the power lifter's lower back exercise. I don't want to include it on this, for one, because deadlifting requires a significant amount of weight that you probably just don't have at home. And it is a super dangerous lift. It is you hear people say lift with your legs, not your back all the time. And then there's literally a lift that is lifting something with the purpose of targeting your lower back. Like form is so important on a deadlift. And I'm sure some of you are doing it. Like if you're in weights class at school, you have your PE teacher, your coach there with you. They'll help you out. But I wouldn't encourage deadlifting by yourself ever, or trying to rig a deadlift at home. So, okay, moving on. Okay, so an example core routine. For core, I like working it in with my other routines instead of having a specific core day. There are a ton of different core exercises like you saw, and I like to use them as a way to keep my heart rate up during other exercise days. So say I'm doing a pushing day, and I start off, my very first set is just regular push-ups. So I do some regular push-ups, and I'm like, okay, that was that set. And then I have a little bit of time before I move to my next pushing exercise, which might be shoulder lifts or something. Um, Instead of just waiting between sets, I could just do a 60-second plank, right? Do my push-ups, okay? Plank for 60 seconds. Okay, do my next lift, plank for 60 seconds, do my next set of push-ups. And by doing that, I'm eliminating a day where I have to work out and target core by putting core in with my pushing day. And I'm keeping my heart rate up. And we're going to talk about cardio here in a minute. Um, and keeping your heart rate up throughout an exercise will help you become more athletic, for one. You'll be in better cardiovascular shape. And it's good for you. Like, cardio exercise is maybe the best thing for you because it's going to help your heart. It's going to help just your blood flow. It's going to make you a lot healthier person overall. So, um, my biggest suggestion with core, work it into other days. If you want to do a core day specifically, fine, go for it. There's plenty of exercises to make it its own day. And if you just love it, fine. But one thing I want to stress about core exercise before I move to the next one, too, is that a lot of people want, the abs, right? They're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the beach with my 6-pack abs, and like you be able to sharpen a knife on them because they're so whatever. Okay, core exercise will not give you a 6-pack. It will not make your abs look better. It is for strengthening your core. If you want the defined abdomen, that is a fat loss thing, not a core muscle building thing. You have to actually lose the fat to show your core muscles, and it's the hardest area to lose fat in for most people. So anyway, okay, legs. Definitely have a day set aside for legs. Legs. This is biggest, your biggest, strongest muscle group in your body is legs. If you do a solid leg day, there's no way you'll be able to avoid just being covered in sweat and super tired because you can just move so much weight with your legs that you're really putting in the work. Um, so it's also the easiest one to do at home, in my opinion, because the benefit of legs is that the rest of your body is above your legs. So there's so many things you can do that just involve going down and up, and it's activating your legs. You don't have to get nearly as creative with a leg day at home as you do with some of the other days. So let's go a little deeper here. Got a little video. Then copy link. Page here. Get a little ad real quick. Whoop, there we go. Skip. Okay. Of course, I already watched some of this and didn't rewind it. But she's just going to show you some very basic leg stuff, right? I don't know okay. So basic squat. Down and up, her legs go to parallel. This is an awesome exercise. Again, it's like a military favorite. They will have you do that all the time in the military. Skipping ahead. Okay, this is a this is a glute workout. If you don't know what your glutes are, it's your butt. So now you know. Um, watch this. Yep. All you need for this is a bench or a chair or anything where you can get in this position. And you do that. Okay, good. This is one of my favorite at-home leg exercises right here. Um, these are very hard to do. And here, we'll just watch. You put one foot up on the chair or the bench, and you're doing essentially a single leg squat. This is a great exercise for if you have done squats to the point, like two-leg regular squats, to the point where they're not hard for you anymore. This is a great next level, right? Essentially, just take your body weight, put most of it on one leg instead of two, and now you've really upped the difficulty. Um, really like this exercise. Let's see if she got, I think there was one more on here that I liked. Um, anyway, now we can be good with this. View video. Show. Oh, okay, sweet. Um, when you're doing your legs, okay, so let's talk about the muscle groups involved in the legs real quick. The one that is you're going to hit a lot when you're doing squats and things. Let me see if I can lower camera just a little bit here. Is your quads, the top of your leg. You can kind of see, I'm going to stand on my toes. So you're going to hit the front of your leg essentially all the time when you're doing a squat or the one-legged squat or anything where you're going down and up with your whole body, going to hit your quads. Your glutes, your butt muscles, that we just saw an exercise for that there. If you look on this little chart, the donkey kick, which is on the left here, which is a great name for an exercise. Um, that is another glute exercise where you're on your hands and your knees and you just take your leg and you just keep it bent like you're on your hands and your knees and just put it up and you'll really feel that flexing in the glutes. You don't want to forget your calves. Calves are your lower leg. Calf raises are the easiest and one of the only really good ways of hitting your calf. Essentially, you're just on your feet and then you go on your tippy toes. And you can add weight to this just by holding, stuff in your hands. That'll hit your calves. Um, they show a couple different modified lunges on here, like the side lunge. That'll get your hip abductors. Your hip abductors are the side of your leg. I keep touching my leg and you guys can't even see it. But it's essentially the outside of your leg. So side lunges, where you just lunge out to the side, those will hit your hip abductors. Um, Pistol squats are probably the hardest exercise on here. It's you do a squat, but it's a one-legged squat, but instead of putting your other leg on a chair or on a bench, you just stick it out in front of you. This puts 100% of your body weight on one leg, and I'm telling you that's tough. Like most people cannot do one of those. Like most people cannot go down on one of those. So I mean, if you're just standing in your house right now or something, go ahead and try one if you want, and you'll see. But um, okay, and then the last one on here, a commonly missed muscle group in the legs that is bad to miss is the hamstrings. So the hamstrings are the upper part, in your upper leg, it's the back. So your quads are in the front of your upper leg. The back part of your upper leg is the hamstrings. They're not, it's maybe the most awkward muscle group in the leg to work out, but essentially you work out your hamstring anytime you are, I'm gonna bring the camera back down. Anytime you are sort of, man, there's limitations to this. All right, we're going mobile. We're gonna try anyway. Okay. Anytime you are, so here's my legs. Anytime you're doing this, flexing your leg, think of it like a leg curl. Here's your hamstrings down here, and if you're flexing your leg, you are working out your hamstring. Okay. So you might sometimes in PE they might have you do stuff like we called them butt kicks back in the day. Like you run, but you have to, like you're just kind of jogging around, but while you're doing it, you have to like kick your own butt with the back of your foot. You guys know what I'm talking about? Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, we okay. So they had you do those not just for like fun, like it's they were just laughing at you while you literally kicked your own butt, but it was to find some easy way of targeting your hamstrings that day. Um, if you work out your legs but do not work out your hamstrings, it creates an imbalance in your knees. And one thing you'll see with a lot of athletes is they have knee problems. Um, you used to see this back before this was super well understood. You used to see a lot of, let's say, football players or something that could squat all kinds of weight, right? So they're doing all these squats and they're getting their quads really strong. They're getting their glutes really strong, but they're just missing on their hamstrings. And those muscles, all your body is just essentially, or your muscular skeletal body, is essentially just a bunch of bones with muscles and tendons pulling on them, right? So you have a whole bunch of things pulling on your knee. If the things on the front of your knee are pulling really hard and the things on the back of your knee aren't strong enough to resist that, that causes an imbalance in the knee. And people who don't work out their hamstrings, who are into exercise, will have knee problems. It is just a guarantee you will mess your knees up. So do something for your hamstrings on leg days. That's my hamstring rant of the day. Okay, now cardio. Um, like I said earlier, in my opinion, the easiest way to add cardio to an exercise day is to add ab workouts or core workouts into your other strength days, right? So right now you have pushing days, pulling days, and leg days. If you mix core into those 3 days, you're turning your strength training days into also some bonus cardio training. If your core is hurting or you don't want to exercise your core that day, another way to turn your strength days into strength and cardio days is to do things like jumping jacks in between sets. Um, I do jumping jacks like all the time in between sets when I'm exercising at home because they're simple. You don't need anything, and just do 20 or 30, right? And it's just a way of not letting my heart just slow back down, not letting my body become cold. Like once you're warmed up and you're going, you want to stay warmed up and going. That's really important. And so you want to mix in some kind of activity in between your sets instead of just sitting there. Um, if you ever go to a gym and you're looking around, you can tell who the people who aren't super serious about fitness are because they do a set, like say they're bench pressing. Boom, they knock out a set of bench press, and then they sit on the bench for like 2 minutes. And they're like on their phone or something. And I'm like, you're going to hurt yourself because your body is done. Like you did a set and then you cooled all the way back down. And now you have to ramp back up again. That's not good for you. Stay loose, keep your blood flowing, mix in some cardio. I have another cardio slide, I believe. Let me see. Okay, I got this a little bit out of order. Another thing you can do is have specific cardio days. I really like cardio days when I like them, if that makes sense. There's some days where I just don't feel like lifting or doing strength training. Maybe I went too hard the week before and my muscles are just sore and you don't want to work out on sore muscles necessarily. So I'm like, all right, I do want to do some exercise. I'm just going to do cardio. This is where things like jogging, going for a walk, riding a bike, those are cardio exercises, and they're great for you. Um, one of the things I like a lot about cardio is you can listen to music or listen to books or something like that so easily while you're riding a bike. If you have some like ear pods or just headphones, I mean, honestly, the cord's sort of annoying, but whatever. You can just kind of lose yourself in a cardio workout, and you don't need to be um, killing yourself, if that makes sense. You want to get your heart rate up. So I put this little chart up here. When you're doing cardio or when you're exercising, we talked about setting goals, right? Back a couple weeks ago. Um, and so here is a heart rate monitoring tool that will that you want to look at for your goal, right? So let's say one of your goals is I want to lose some weight. Well, it turns out you need to get your heart rate up if you're trying to like burn that fat and lose some weight, but you don't need to get it like really, really high. If you can get your heart rate into like the 104 to 133 range for anywhere from 20 to 80 minutes, you're doing it. Your body's working hard enough that you're burning extra fat. Um, you can do this by going on a walk. Like a not now, when you're walking, don't be like, yeah, I like the clouds and I'm moving it not less than half a mile an hour. No, that's not. You're just standing and falling forward slowly. When you go on a walk, like walk. You don't need to power walk and look like your grandma used to with the hand weights, but move around. And just by doing that, you can get your heart rate into this range, and from for 20 to 80 minutes, you will burn a little bit of extra fat and lose some weight. If you're looking to become more fit, like maybe you're going to play a sport, maybe you just want to really tone up and like really kick it to the next level, you can start looking into the like above 130 range and under 170 range. So this is going to be aerobic fitness, right? This will be the thing. You'll hit these heart rates on a jog, for example. Um, One of the goals of jogging is to be able to go a further distance, but you get tired when you jog. Well, that's because eventually your heart moves. I don't know, I hope you guys can see my mouse. But Dan, can you see my mouse as I'm moving it
Yes,
around?
yes.
Okay. So as your heart moves from like this green box towards this red box, you find you're getting more and more tired. And it's because you're going from aerobic exercise to anaerobic exercise. If your goal is to become more fit, you want to stay in this green area or this blue area. You just don't want to get to the red. Um, by staying here, if you can do it, and if you look at here, my English is so good. The times aren't long. 2 to 10 minutes in the yellow, 10 to 40 minutes in the green. If you can keep your heart rate at these levels for this amount of time, and you do that over and over and over again, you will find that you become more aerobically fit. You'll be able to jog longer, you won't get tired as easy, etc. Now the red box up here, this is for this is athletic training essentially. This is what you do. This is like running sprints, right? Where your goal is not to get more cardiovascularly fit, it's to be faster. So mixing these in is fine. Like, say you want to run track and you want to be a sprinter. Okay, you're going to hit peaks. You're going to push yourself really hard for less than 5 minutes at a time. Um, get your heart rate up into the nearing 200 area, which is about going to be the max. This is a typical young person's chart, so it's going to be a little different for everybody. But you're pushing near your max heart rate, um, and you do that in short little spurts, and it will train your body to be more accustomed to that. And by doing that, you can become more anaerobically fit, which means short bursts of athletic activity. But this is step 5 and 4 are very uncomfortable, and it's almost treating cardio like a lift, which is fine if you want to be fast and all that. But I'd suggest staying in 1, 2, and 3. Um, finding a nice like bike ride, walk, jog that you like to do. And I like to do these on days where I'm just stressed out or something. It's really nice after a day like yesterday, for example, where I'm like, I have no idea what my future holds because no one will tell me because the schools don't know when they open and I'm stressing about this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I could just go walk around outside. I'm getting some exercise in, I'm listening to a book, and I can just kind of lose myself in it. And I walked for like an hour. So I'm right in that blue box range. And it was good for me. And I felt like I got some exercise in that day, which is great. Okay, so that's all I had for my slides today. Um, I want to open it up for questions or just hear some things that you guys think or have tried or go. Open for comments. I can pull up the I see cardiac arrest from Michael. Yes, do not cardiac arrest. That means you're dead. Heart
Yeah,
rate.
I think he was referring to the red number 5.
Yes. Yeah. Um Eve, bike riding is definitely cardio. Yes. A way you can make bike riding more than cardio is finding like hills. And if you find some nice hills, you can just really push yourself up the hills and then you're making a leg exercise out of it. But anytime you're riding a bike, your heart's going to be up. And so that's great. Cardio is probably the most important one of the whole group. And that's why I try and mix it in every single time. Get a bike with a speed ratio for gears. Yeah, one thing you'll learn if you get a bike, I'm sure probably most people have ridden a bike once, is most bikes have gears, and the point of those gears is to be able to allow you to expend a similar amount of energy the whole time, regardless of like the terrain you're on, right? So like sometimes you'll be slightly uphill, you can change the gear so your legs are moving a little faster, but you're not working like so much harder. But if you wanted to make it harder, then put it in a heavier gear and go up that hill. It'll be a real treat. I'm trying to think. One of the one thing I like about going outside and exercising is as someone who like plays a lot of video games in their free time. Um, there are definitely days where I like don't leave the house, and especially now because you're kind of not encouraged to go places right now. So a big benefit of going outside and doing some exercise is that I feel like I'm a part of the community again. And this is a part of that mental health thing that I like to talk about and a part of the finding like a community part of this is there's something about going out into your town or out into your city or whatever and just being out there that makes you feel like, hey, this is where I live, this is who I am, and I'm out here as a part of Chanute or a part of Iola or a part of Wichita, um, or whatever. And you see some other people out there and you can kind of just wave at them and you're getting that interaction for the day. Um, and if you do it on a schedule, which again, I will say, I think the easiest way to exercise is having a routine and building it into a schedule. So, say you exercise before school every day, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you always go outside and do a little jog or a bike ride. You'll see other people that do that, and it's kind of neat to just be like, oh yeah, there's Bob. Bob's always out walking around on Monday mornings. What's up, Bob? Bob's like, hey, and then you go past each other, and that's the whole interaction. But you're like, no, that's Bob. I know Bob. You're like, and then somebody's like, yeah, what's Bob do for a job? You're like, I don't know. He walks in the morning. I think that's what Bob does for a job, but I don't care because Bob and I are walking friends. And just stuff like that's fun, I think. Um, the coolest part, and now that we're doing something different next week. Next week, you guys will have Carissa and I at the same time, and we're talking about like uh, money stuff, right? But so I'll put a bow on just exercising in general, I suppose, is that it is it's really important to be proud of yourself for something all the time, right? Because like life can suck sometimes, and failing is a part of life, and all of that. Like you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna lose sometimes, and sometimes it's out of your control. Like sometimes like circumstances you can't control happen to you, and like life will get you down. But if you can take care of your body as much as you can do that. Like it is well within your control to take care of yourself, short of having like insane medical conditions, right? Like some people have conditions that they can't help. And so they might not be able to do the same stuff as everybody else, but they can still probably do something. And by doing something to take care of yourself, it is at least something you can hang your hat on all the time and be like, look, like my job might suck right now. I might have just failed a test, but like I exercise. Like I am taking care of my body. Um, and until they can put my brain in a robot, this body's what I'm stuck with. Now, as soon as they can put my brain in a robot, I'm doing it and I don't need to exercise ever again because I won't even be able to pick up kittens because I'll crush them with my robot hands, which is terrible. It's hard to control the robot strength. But um, anyway, all right, that's all I got. I hope that if hold on, I gotta see why not just put your body in a robot? No, the goal, Michael, is to get rid of the body, right? Like this can die, right? I want to put my consciousness in an immortal thing like a robot, or just upload my consciousness to a video game or something, and that would be awesome. And then, yeah, but that's for yeah, yeah, that's a different class.
Yes, it is.
Beggars can't be choosers. Well, uh, actually, I think if I could create my own digital world and just put myself in it, I could be a chooser.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, what I hope though is that just like don't worry about being perfect with exercise. I hope people just do some. And you've had Carissa teaching you about stretching and yoga, um, and the stuff she was doing with you. I just encourage everybody to do something. Um, you don't want to get later in your life and have a lot of health problems and think back and be like, I could have avoided this if um, I would have just been kind of active for the last however many years. And when you're young, you feel like you don't need it because your body literally just heals from everything all the time anyway. But I'm only in my 30s and I can already tell like when I twist my ankle now, it's somehow not just magically better tomorrow. Which like when I was a kid, I could fall down a flight of stairs and I was like, ow, but I'm fine. If I fell down a flight of stairs right now, I would explode.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
I can attest to this. I'm close to the same age as Brad, and it's amazing how quickly your body just goes downhill if you are not taking small
yep,
steps to keep it healthy. And again, as Brad said, do something. Even if you're doing nothing right now, doing 5 minutes of exercise a day is better than doing nothing. And
yeah,
then maybe the next week you can try for 10 minutes or even just 6 minutes. But just try to do a little bit more than you're doing now.
yep. There's so many resources. Like, I tried to put a whole body worth of exercise into 3 40-minute lessons. Obviously, that's not going to do it justice, but there are so many people out there who are actual trainers who put videos on YouTube, and that's how they make a living. Just pick a routine, pick one of their programs that's free, and just do it. And like, if you hated it, do a different one next time. And if you loved it, put it on your like, make note of it and run it again sometime. But you will feel better. I promise that. If you exercise, you will feel better. Even if you already feel good, you'll just feel more good. It won't
Right.
make you good at English, though, unfortunately. Oh, man.
Well, thank you, sir.
Hey, no problem, guys.
I think that's probably going to wrap it up for today. If anybody else has any questions, always please email, send us a message. But don't forget, I have two short announcements real quick. It seems like every time I have two announcements. But the first is we need you to come pick up supplies for next week and your stipends if you have them. We have stipends and supplies for everyone, not stipends for everyone, but supplies for everyone that need to be picked up either today before 5 or tomorrow between 8 and 5. Again, if you need a different time to come pick those up, please just let us know, send us a message. We'll make it work. The second announcement is that tonight we have a special watch party. So we're doing our evening activity tonight, and it's going to be the perks of being a wallflower. So if you're reading that book, even if you're not reading that book and you want to just watch the movie with us, we're going to watch that tonight. I don't know exactly what time yet. We haven't decided for sure, but if you keep an eye on the Student Central, we should get that posted in the next hour when we're going to do it tonight. And there will be a link to join the Zoom meeting for tonight's movie. So again, we're watching Perks of Being a Wallflower tonight. There will be a link in the Student Central within the next hour telling you what time we're going to start the movie tonight. All right, and if you guys don't have any other questions, we'll see you tomorrow or hopefully tonight if you want to come join our movie. So thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of your day.